Hey everyone, it's the Geeky Gamer. A Hat in Time by Gears for Breakfast is... Wait, I already said this. Yeah, this is part 2 to a recent video of mine. I won't repeat myself exactly, but here's the gist. I challenged myself to beat A Hat in Time using the Playable Mustache Girl mod by Argle, using Moo's unique abilities to replace hat kits, and seeing if it's still possible to beat the game. Did I succeed? Well, yeah, but you should still watch the first part to find out how. In part 1, I collected 27 timepieces. 7 from Mafia Town, 7 from Battle of the Birds, 6 from Subcon Forest, 5 from Alpine Skyline, 1 from Time's End, and an extra 1 from a time rift, just in case one of the levels wasn't actually possible despite the evidence I had found. That completed all the main acts of the 5 base game chapters. But counting the DLC, there's a total of 56 timepieces, so we're just under halfway to completion. In this part, I'll be venturing into the remaining time rifts of the base game, as well as the 2 DLC chapters, the Arctic Cruise and Nyakuza Metro. And no Death Wish. You can check out Piffle Neo's Mustache Girl run from 2023 if you want to see that. But for now, join me as we finish this challenge and find out, can you complete A Hat in Time as Mustache Girl? Moves back at the planet to grab the rest of the timepieces. Since I already did the Gallery time rift in the first part, I headed on down to the Lab rift. The Lazy Paw gang may be the worst enemies in the game, but the Pompous Crows are a close second. Honestly, I should have just tried avoiding them all, but I learned that by the end, and I got the first timepiece of our postgame. Now, time to head back to Mafia Town for its time rifts. But first, I went around and grabbed as many relics as I could to unlock all the purple time rifts. After grabbing them all, I popped back into the spaceship for a little something so I wouldn't forget later. I'm not sure the exact requirements, whether it's 25 timepieces or finishing the finale, but you can interact with the safe on the spaceship and get a timepiece to use as a weapon. Does this completely invalidate the character arc Moo went on in part 1? Yes it does. The timepiece bomb seems to just be a reskin of the standard Moo bomb, so I really just used the Moo bomb out of habit. Anyway, into the Super Time Rift. And this one was easy. Really easy. Probably because it's one of the first rifts you unlock. Easy rift, easy timepiece. Time for the Bazaar then. A touch trickier with the rotating ramp and platforms and the introduction of the cookies that shrink after landing on them, but still really easy to grab the timepiece. Now into our first purple time rift, Mafia of Cooks. Just a refresher, we need to collect certain amounts of rift pollens to open each level of the rift, and there are more than we need in each level. There's also storybook pages, and I decided to go ahead and grab all of those for every purple rift as well. For this rift specifically, it got a bit hairy when I took some damage from the rolling beat, and fell off in the level with 4 buildings, but I made it to the timepiece with 1 HP left. From the pages collected through the Mafia's memories, Moo gets some insight into her enemy, if she still considers the Mafia her enemy. They all worked at a factory, and none of them felt fulfilled with their lives, so they set sail for a place they could make their own and relax. Their voyage brought them to an island, and they turned it into Mafia Town. Unfortunate for whoever was already living there. Back to Battle of the Birds. First stop, the Owl Express. These spinning circular platforms gave me some trouble, but the rotating blocks and giant gears were easy to climb to the timepiece. Now for the Moon. This one has the owl band following your exact movements throughout the whole level, so you have to keep moving and be careful not to accidentally block yourself off. This made it a lot trickier to set up higher jumps with bombs. Had a death trying to contend with the old dive under a wall then climb up on the other side, and the wall jumps got tough, but then I made the last dash to the timepiece. I bombed the receptionist voiced by a racist YouTuber again, double shades again, infiltration time again, but our only target is the Dead Bird Studio time rift. The first level with the wires was a bit tricky trying to collect everything, especially with the signals traveling along the wires. I scoured the storage level for the last page in it, and the button level wasn't too bad. Got the last page and the timepiece. Moo learns about how the conductor and DJ Grooves both wanted to make movies and rented the same studio, but instantly got into a bitter rivalry. Into Subcon Forest again, I first had to deal with some of the fire spirits blocking off parts of the forest. There's one group in the swamp that has to die to remove the purple firewalls, opening up the burning forest and courtyard areas. Yeah, Subcon's a lot bigger than a lot of people probably think if they haven't gone for all the time rifts. Into the pipe time rift first. We get introduced to red blocks that fall after stepping on them, but they come back. Easy to traverse them and swing into the timepiece. In the courtyard area, there's another group of fire spirits creating the green firewalls that surround the augmented forest behind Snatcher's house. Took a bit of Dweller Bomb shenanigans to get into the big purple pillar, but I burned all the paintings and took down the wall. Now I had to get to the village time rift, still in the courtyard area. It's on top of this structure and it seemed just barely out of reach as I repeatedly failed to reach the ledge with the bomb bounce and wall kick. I was stuck on this for a long time. I even tried the timepiece bomb to see if it was more powerful. But eventually I added a dive in there, which did the trick to get me to the rift. After that challenge, the rift itself was easy, but I didn't take the chance to Dweller Bomb bounce up the stairs to the timepiece. Didn't feel like it, and the bell was right there. After grabbing more relics and finding out from the wiki that you can bomb this bush in the augmented forest for the item magnet badge, I hopped into the Sleepy Subcon time rift. This one was much easier than the first 2 purple rifts. Moo learned the unfortunate truth that there is no ethical consumption under capitalism and grabbed the timepiece. She then learned the tragic backstory of the Snatcher. His crazy ex Vanessa thought he was cheating on her with the florist when he was just buying Vanessa flowers, so she locked him in the dungeon and left him to rot into a ghost while she became a shadowy ice-powered hag. Also, one of the Death Wish time rifts shows that her power killed everyone in Subcon. This game is messed up. Back up to Alpine Skyline, and we're unfortunately headed right back into the paws of the worst enemies. Those stupid cats double-teamed me this time. Surely this rift can't be as bad, right? Curly Tail Trail? No. No! I think the worst thing about the Lazy Paw gang is that you almost have to get hit by them. They're invisible unless they're trying to attack you or steal from you. They instantly turn invisible just for that, then immediately go invisible again, and you can't hit them while they're invisible even though you can still see them. Just bad game design. Just about the only bad design in this otherwise phenomenal game. But bad game design didn't stop me from getting the timepiece. Now for the Twilight Bell Rift. I found out here that bombs go right through dweller blocks, so you can't bomb bounce on them. I had to walk it to get up. Had to throw a dweller bomb from the platform for the larger radius and longer time, then I dove through the hole and got to the timepiece. One last base game time rift, Alpine Skyline. And there's even more Lazy Paws, great. Luckily only 2. Not super tough to get the rift pawns, but the storybook pages were tougher here, even with the wiki to help find them. Grab the timepiece and learn about the goat who ascended. Yeah, that's it. With all the base game timepieces collected, it's time to start the DLC with the Arctic Cruise. We set off with Bon Voyage. A bunch of characters from throughout the game are here for a cruise on the SS Literally Can't Sink. The conductor apologizes about the
knife incident
and says it was a
wee argument between colleagues.
Sure. We meet the captain and his SEAL crew, catch up with Mafia boss and Snatcher, then start the boarding process. And it sure is a process. Wall kicks are key here. You'll need a bomb bounce into dive kick for this metal wall. Then there's the next hook shot part. You need to unhook at the peak of your swing, dive, and wall kick to get on top. I spent 4 minutes on this part alone. Luckily, the rest of the climb isn't bad. Once aboard, we navigate the rooms of the ship to get to the lobby, then find out the SEALs are so incompetent they broke a timepiece without it rewinding time and got 11 shards lost all around the ship. That's impressively incompetent. Throughout this act, I reacquainted myself with the layout of the ship and figured out some trickier parts while playing as Moo to prepare for the next act.
What do I look like, a doctor? Kiss it better yourself.
Moo doesn't have a kiss taunt. Oh, okay, I guess just pressing down on the D-pad is all that's needed. Finish the rest of the scavenger hunt for the shards and reform them into our first timepiece of the chapter. Now it's time for my least favorite level, one I've been dreading since this challenge began. Ship Shape. The premise is just stupid. Why can't we take our timepiece from the Lost and Found? That's literally its only purpose. So to retrieve it, we have to do chores around the ship, but we can't let time run out on too many or the captain will end up getting so mad that we have to start all over. Shouldn't he be grateful that someone's doing any work on his ship? Well, we don't have the sprint hat or the time stop hat, so let's see what fresh hell this level is as Mustache Girl. Okay, so, this here was the only time the captain facing the corner changed from blue. Yeah, it turns out this level really isn't as bad as I thought. Maybe it's just because I got lucky with a bunch of tasks spawning on the deck at the same time, a bunch in the cabins at the same time, and 2 ending in the laundry room, but this was honestly pretty easy, even with Moo. I must have just gotten better at the game. Guess I don't need the Chill Out Walrus mod anymore. One more timepiece down. It's time to rock the boat. The captain won't stop the ship for us to get the timepiece on the iceberg, so Moo takes control into her own hands. Unfortunately, just like Hat Kid, she has no idea how to steer a cruise ship. We're doing a Titanic! With the ship in freezing water and tilted about 64 degrees to its side, yes I measured, Moo has to do a rescue mission. I got kinda stuck in the reception desk, but got out eventually. Moo's gotten really strong to be able to carry all these passengers and still run and jump at almost her peak. She even saved Mafia boss, despite everything he's done to her home. That's heroism right there. I guess. I mean, he is still a really bad guy. Conductor too in this timeline, but to a lesser extent. With all the passengers that we know of saved, there's only the captain left, and this time we have a time limit. I got stuck in the reception desk again, but made it to the captain with plenty of time to spare. So begins another time limit to get back to the lifeboats. I blew 3 HP right away in the generator room, so any slip up would have meant a restart, but I locked in, and even with some trouble bomb bouncing between walls, I made it to the lifeboats with just 11 seconds left. Moo must have gotten really strong to carry the captain. With everyone safe, we can grab the timepiece from the iceberg, marking a disastrous end to our cruise. But first, let's head back to when it was still afloat to enter the balcony time rift. This is the trickiest blue rift in the game. Maybe not so much at the start, but definitely with the second big red block slide. Yeah, I kept sliding into the saw blade like an idiot, but there's also a dweller bomb bounce at the end. Oh, and then flamethrowers. Luckily the rest wasn't too bad, and I got the timepiece. And now for my new least favorite level, since I gained a new appreciation for ship shape, the Deep Sea Time Rift. Getting all the storybook pages on this one took me half an hour. Bomb bounces between walls leading right into urchins, dweller pillars that were hard to get to with dweller bomb bouncing. I ended up turning on assist mode for the whole level, more tricky wall bomb bouncing. The first real level of the rift alone took me 10 minutes. Next level had a really annoying bomb wall bounce between 2 castle turrets, especially because of the curvature of the towers. There were annoying spinning platforms, and when I finally got to the island one of the pages was on, I fell off, and I just gave up in no clip to get back up there. Call me a cheater and call a run invalid all you want, but I got up there once, I just wasn't doing it all again. That level took almost another 10 minutes. The level with the ship wasn't as bad, only about 3 minutes, but are you kidding me? Why is there a lazy paw here? The lava level was frustrating, not because of the last page, but because of getting the last rift pawns. I have to go with the path with spinning staircases, and that was hell. I used no clip many times just to get back up there. I promise, I only used it to get back to the start of frustrating sections, and only in this time rift. I eventually got the last rift pawn I needed, finally opening the way to the timepiece. 7 minutes on that last level, so yeah, it really was half an hour. But hey, we learned why the captain is so grumpy all the time. He's depressed. Dude, I'm sorry your mentor died, but you could have let me have the timepiece from the Lost and Found. That's what it's meant for! Just one chapter left in the entire game, Nyakuza Metro. Not even Moo can resist the delight of big fluffy cats with bandanas pulling subway trains. Jumping off the train into the main plaza, we immediately go and bomb the Nyakuza member speed walking away carrying a timepiece to retrieve it. Hey, thanks for the hollow stick respawn, but I'm kinda in the middle of Empress stealing my stuff and hiring me. We're working for the Nyakuza now. Unfortunately, Moo can't wear any Nyakuza swag. The only cosmetics that work on her are dyes and paints. I bought the baseball bat hoping it would change the smoke dance to putting the bat on her shoulders, but it didn't work. I want a refund. We first head to Yellow Overpass Station. It took me too long to figure out getting between trains on the upper level, but once I did, I was able to go buy the yellow ticket and keep riding the trains to the timepiece. Green Clean Station is next. Got the green ticket and jumped across the rafters to the sushi bar for another timepiece. Man, I wish there was more interesting stuff to talk about here. We're going down into Bluefin Tunnels next, and are you serious? Luckily, these lazy Polarians don't turn invisible. They take a few hits to go down, but that's an acceptable trade-off. I made my way past lots of trains and grabbed the Bluefin ticket. Then it took a while to get on the level above the cat selling that ticket. These trains are hard to move. Now we've got 6 timepiece shards to find. Oh, come on! The normal lazy paws are here too! Luckily, just one. Collected all the shards to reform another timepiece. We return to Le Feline to find Emperor's mad at one of her cats for touching her stuff, and she murders him. A Mafia is one thing, but the Nyakuza is a whole different beast. Over to Pink Paw Station. Running through this tunnel with all the oncoming trains is tough. If you touch even one, you have to start over. Getting up on the trains is still hard to do. I got far into this one, but then one of the vacuums spawned in the wrong spot on the wall. I quit to the spaceship, grabbed the hollow sticker, then went back, and this time the vacuum was in the right spot. Got my pink ticket and went the rest of the way to the timepiece. Back to Yellow Overpass Station to enter the Yellow Overpass manhole. Bomb bounce between walls and over the triple tracks, just barely dodging the trains. A Hat in Time says trans rights, and so do I. One tricky jump off the train into some wall bounces, and the timepiece is ours. Pink Paw manhole next, and I swear this one exists just to give modders the framework for 100 coin type objectives with the energy pawns. A lot of jumping between trains for the 100 we need to free the timepiece. One more out in the wild, the Green Clean manhole. We get to the ice cream shop and... this could be a problem. As Hat Kid, you're supposed to activate the Dweller Mask and bounce on the vacuum to go right through the purple Dweller block. Of course, Moo can't do that. She throws bombs at an arc that ultimately goes horizontal and downward. So how the heck are we going to get past this? I tried bomb bouncing off the walls to the sides, but there's no way you get enough height. It took a bit, but I was eventually able to pull something off. I got on top of the ice cream shop sign and positioned Moo just right to look at one of the pillars. I threw a Dweller Bomb, which had an effect radius just large enough to make a hole in the ceiling, then double jumped and wall kicked to get up top. This was one of the trickiest bits in the whole run, and I was so glad I could pull it off. The bomb bouncing required at the very end was frustrating, since I think it's the longest wall jump section in the game. You only get 4 bomb bounces, and I had to keep them straight so the camera wasn't great, but I was eventually able to get up and grab the timepiece. With all the timepieces retrieved, the Empress takes her leave and says she'll contact Moo if needed, but Moo has no plans to continue working for the Nyakuza. She breaks into the back room and takes back the timepieces, also finding out that the Empress has been paying with counterfeit money. Speaking of the Empress, she's back. We're busted. Moo really does not look super shocked here. She's missing most of Hat Kid's expression textures. The Empress puts a bounty on Moo's head, and it's time for rush hour. We repeat a lot of the same areas we platformed through before, now dodging Nyakuza cats and the Empress's diamond-tipped rockets. Talk about extra. We evade all of this and drop into the escape tunnels. There's more challenging train jumping, and this section with Dweller signs that were really not meant to be avoided with anything but the Dweller Mask. I was eventually able to get past the first one, and then just sort of phase through the signs under the second. We take those. The room with the 3 blue trains was really tough to climb up, but I got it eventually. The cat vacuums bounces to the upper level, where we run back into the Empress. She talks her usual talk until the cops show up, and she makes her retreat. One of the cops is on her payroll and way out of the loop, so he gives us one last timepiece to end our adventures in the Metro. I immediately went back to check in on the Empress. Bombing her doesn't trigger her insta-kill, but slapping her sure does. After respawning, I headed over to the Ruby Factory time rift. This one isn't hard, but man does it give you the creeps. Snatcher and Vanessa's backstory may be tragic and disturbing, but stuff like the outskirts of Subcon Forest and the Ruby Factory give off an incredibly unsettling vibe that just haunts you as you wonder what the frick happened here. After getting the timepiece from this abandoned factory, we're treated to some wholesomeness with a storybook about Hat Kid's Ruby. This must have come over from Moo's old timeline, since it's got Ruby's perspective on Hat Kid's adventure. In this memory, Moo gets to see a bit of the effect her actions had on her timeline's Hat Kid. She had thought Hat Kid had betrayed her, but in reality, she betrayed Hat Kid. She had been selfish, asking Hat Kid to potentially strand herself away from home, just so Moo could have the power of time itself to take down the Mafia. She sees that now, and she's changed, but this memory brought a new wave of feels. Don't worry, I didn't forget Moo's character arc in these videos. Coming back to the spaceship with our 55th timepiece and one last time rift has spawned. We head back up to the attic and enter the Tor time rift. This here is a trip down our own memory lane, to many of the places we've been on our adventure. or at least in the base game. From a section of Mafia Town with one lava faucet overflowing, to a sepia-toned area of Deadbird's studio. Strangely themed around the conductor, but I guess that's fitting since we fought him. Next is the portion of Subcon Forest, where we can jump down the well to find a frozen replica of Snatcher's house. There's a storybook page on one of the high branches. It's tough to get to since he keeps sliding off the steep slopes. After that, there's a tiny Alpine Skyline with all the peaks represented. And man, it took me a while to find the 8th page on this level. Then, we take the plunge into one last level of challenge, the Ruins of Time's End. I almost died here thanks to the flamethrowers and one of the express owls. This is why I allowed the use of assist mode in the overall challenge. I didn't want to have to redo parts just because of cheap health loss and deaths. I went backwards to find the last page, then trekked forward to the end of this level, leading back to the attic, where our final timepiece awaits for us to collect. Now, every purple time rift in each one's storybook has been about someone's memories. The Mafia of Cooks, the conductor and DJ Grooves, Snatcher and Vanessa, that one Go Who Ascended, the Captain, Ruby. But now, this last rift, this last storybook, looks into Mustache Girl's memories. Memories of when her island home was peaceful, when she was just a happy and friendly kid. Memories of when the Mafia arrived, when she tried to make friends and they pushed her aside before turning the island into Mafia Town. Memories of when she tried to fight back and was ridiculed, when she rebelled in her attempts to save her home, and memories of being alone. Being alone has been her biggest fear ever since her fight began. It's why she was so quick to latch onto Hat Kid as a friend and ally, and why she turned to anger when Hat Kid didn't want to help her for her own justifiable reason. It's why she panicked during the final showdown when all the bad guys started killing each other to heal Hat Kid, because then she'd be all alone. It's why, when Hat Kid gave her a timepiece, she used it to travel back in time, do things over, be a better friend. She just doesn't want to be alone. And she's not. Not anymore. With all 56 timepieces collected, the game is one final reward. A really fancy tartan hat, for Hat Kid of course. And with that, we're done. Every chapter, every act, every time rift, it's all done. Through all the challenges, we've proven that it is possible to complete a hat in time as Mustache Girl. And like us, Moo's come a long way too. She may have gotten up to a bit of trouble lately, but she's shown she has the power to accomplish her goals, without some crazy power source. She feels a lot better now about past Moo's chances of stopping the Mafia, and she's gotten all the timepieces off the planet and back where they belong. Maybe now, if Hat Kid would let her, it's time to use those timepieces to go to her own home, her original timeline, and set things right there. Well, maybe she can stay a bit longer, maybe go on another adventure. She'll just be going back to the same point in time anyway. She has all the time in the world. But she's still not doing Death Wish! Thank you for watching this challenge run, hopefully both parts. This was the first ever challenge I've done for any game, and it was a ton of fun looking at A Hat in Time with a whole new perspective, both in terms of gameplay and narrative. Like I said, I'm not doing Death Wish. Go watch Piffle Neo's challenge run for that. Just know that they used a different moveset. I've yet to find someone who's done Death Wish on the full Moo mode. Thank you to Piffle Neo for finding a way to do Cheating the Race in the first part, as well as u/Hat4Hours, Umbreon, Stare and Seb, and Starfall Dolls. Thank you to Arkawargle for making such a great mod, and thanks to the people in the comments and discussions on that mod for letting me know that this might be possible. And of course, thank you to Gears for Breakfast for making this incredible game, one of my favorites of all time. I put a lot of time and effort into these two videos, so I'd appreciate a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. I'm the Geeky Gamer. See ya!